I'm joined now by energy analyst, Professor Hartmut Winkler. Prof, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for your time. I don't know what you made for what was until a couple of hours ago an impasse or standoff.
Yes, I think diplomatically, it was really just Eskom telling its biggest customers, look, either you pay up or we're not going to provide you services anymore, as has happened in the city. And it's really quite astonishing that allowed point. And as we know, it's not only the city of, but there seems to be this lack of paying Eskom bills side of the municipalities. The idea being that, well, you're never going to cut us off anyway, so why should we prioritize these payments? And I think Eskom's now had the desired results. The story has gotten into the news. The city of Johannesburg has been sufficiently embarrassed that they have now been forced to make up some sort of a commitment to somehow try and settle their bill. Initially, you also heard that there was a dispute of surrounding something like 3 billion rand, which is also astonishing that two major state entities, such as the city of Johannesburg and Eskom, should have such a widely diverging view about who owes whom what. You'd think that something like that could be easily checked, but there seemingly was this dispute. It sounds to me now that the city of Johannesburg has conceded that Eskom's figures were correct.
It would appear, well, at least at face value, that today the process or this whole thing was politically managed, which then raises all sorts of questions around how Eskom is supposed to conduct itself in situations like these.
Yes, Eskom is in a situation where they just simply have to collect funding. They are asking for massive electricity tariff increases based on the idea that, or based on the fact that at the moment they are spending more than they are gathering, and that then automatically leads to price increases. So Eskom has rightly been told, well, rather than increasing the tariffs, why don't you make sure that you collect the monies which are due to you, which is largely from municipalities. And that's exactly what they're doing. They would be in breach if they didn't try their utmost to try and get municipalities to pay. They have, by the way, there has been a similar situation with a much smaller municipality about 2 years ago, where Eskom literally did go much further, and we're on the verge of cutting that municipality off. And then there was a court order saying that, no, you can't do that because some of the users in that municipality were actually paying their bills. So this whole argument of constitutionality and so on came in as well. I don't think Eskom would have really cut off Johannesburg, even if Eskom had, even if the city of Johannesburg had told them that, look, you can go jump. But yeah, certainly, I think they need to come across as tough, and they need to come across as being serious about getting the monies which are due to them.
But I mean, the city of Johannesburg is in a catch-22 situation, isn't it? Rock and a hard place, because it's being owed, I mean, tens of billions of rands by residents and businesses. Like many other municipalities, they are in the situation. But what is also often the case, and not just Johannesburg, but many other municipalities, is that they actually don't use the funds which they collect for electricity for paying Eskom, but rather use it for to cover some of the other shortcomings. And I think the message is now certainly coming from Eskom and also coming from government circles that municipalities must make it a priority to settle their Eskom bills. We are now in a situation where we're still in a power crisis, but it's not. We're not in the load shedding mode anymore. But this could change if we allow Eskom to degenerate to the points where the breakdowns reach the the levels that we had a year or so ago. So Eskom is now trying to make themselves more financially secure so that we can have a more reliable power supply in the country. And that won't happen if they're not able to collect revenue. So yes, the city of Johannesburg is in a catch-22, but it's ultimately either you pay Eskom and can be guaranteed of reasonable good electricity supply, or you don't, in which case Eskom is at some point going to fall. This is probably the biggest challenge facing Eskom right now, this whole question of how are they going to get the funds owed to them into their coffers.
But there are municipalities that simply, outside of Johannesburg, that simply cannot afford, to pay Eskom, isn't
it? There will be some, yes, but I think what one is looking for is and that's probably where the national and provincial governments will have to step in. But just the notion that, well, you are going to get electricity regardless of what, I think that is going to change. If a municipality cannot afford to get to pay for the electricity, they just simply are going to end up getting less. They won't be. I'm pretty sure they won't be cut off altogether, but you could end up with a situation where electricity gets cut between certain hours, or there's a number of possibilities in which you can then ensure that the municipality ends up getting put under pressure to at least pay what they can.
Prof, let's leave it there for today. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Energy analyst, Professor Hartmut Winkler.